Good afternoon, Mets fans, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to Driving with Mr. Met. I am Mr. Met, and I'm coming at you today in a somber tone because, as I mentioned yesterday, when I recapped the dreadful weekend series with the Dodgers, I mentioned that I was going to be going back through my notes and evaluating some of the statistics that have amassed so far this season, and let me tell you something, it wasn't pretty. I hadn't looked at this in well over a month, and I wish I hadn't looked at it at all because, like I said, not pretty. So I'm going to talk about some of those things, and really at the end of my looking at this, I've sort of really clearly seen the differentiation between a good team like the Dodgers and a bad team like the Mets. So item number one, the record. The record speaks for itself. But the Mets have been under 500 since May the 10th. That's 77 games since they've been under 500. They were at 500 on May 9th, and then on May 10th they lost to drop below 500, and it's been that way ever since. Now, since then, they've sort of teetered at, 4 games under, 6 games under. At a couple of points, they hit 10 games under, but never have they been as low as they are right now at 11 games under 500. Mets blog actually wrote about it. It's the furthest beneath the Mendoza line, beneath the 500 mark, since 2014. July 5th, 2014 was the last time the Mets have been this far under 500, and that's just it's just sad. But can we be surprised? The run differential was the other thing that I was looking at. And, the Mets have been blown out a couple of times this year, but they've also done a lot of blowing out themselves. So it's really odd to see a run differential that's, I don't think is that bad. It's negative 64. Negative 64 run differential. That to me, that doesn't seem that crazy. 23 runs were scored by the Nationals in one game. I mean, it's just such a weird season, and to be this far under 500 is just odd when you consider the run differential is really not that bad. You divide that by 11, 11 games beneath 500, you're under 6 runs. It's a 6-run differential. I don't know. I don't know how it factors in. It's probably meaningless, but it's just, like I said, it's just odd, and it just struck me. I thought it would be worse, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is I thought the run differential would be much worse. I thought they'd be like triple digits, 100 runs removed, but they're not. 64. Again, this is up to this point. The last thing that struck me, and I was thinking about it last week, and I was sort of like joking about it in my mind, and I told my dad last week that the Dodgers are as many games above 500 as the Mets have wins, and it's super, super close. And it was, the Mets helped that cause this past weekend with their being swept by the Dodgers, but the Dodgers are 47 games over 500. The Mets have 49 wins this season. So, like I said, I was really, really close on that. And that really was a guess. Like, I didn't really think about it. And I don't follow the Dodgers closely. I don't pay attention to the Dodgers. But watching them play, it's like watching a AAA team play a Major League team. When you're seeing the Dodgers come in and just do everything as well as they did and do, you can see why they have the record they have, and frankly why the Mets have the record that they have. So it was a tough weekend series. I think we all expected it to be. But the good news is they're not playing the Dodgers tonight. That's the good news. The good news is that the Texas Rangers are their opponents tonight. It's a little 2-game set, followed by 4 games in Philadelphia, which, as I said yesterday, these are winnable games. So hopefully the Mets can put a dent in the 11 games under record and scratch closer to single digits again, which would be lovely. In their way of that is Chris Flexen. Chris Flexen is pitching tonight, and the Rangers can mash, and I'm just not sure this is a great matchup for Flexen, but we'll see. We'll see what Chris can do in his, I think it's his third Major League start now. So that's tonight at Citi Field, 7:10 start, and then tomorrow is an afternoon game at 12:10. So I'll be back tomorrow morning to recap tonight's game and to do a little preview of tomorrow's game, and then, as we said, it's off to Philly for a 4-game set. So that's going to wrap it up for today. I appreciate your watching the video and your suffering through the dismalness that is this series, but I do appreciate your tuning in. You can follow me on Twitter at Mr_Met. And as always, let's go Mets.